Welcome and thanks for being here. Okay, thank you for joining me for your support video for the American Tango Basic. In this video, we will cover how to apply your tracks to your basic, okay? We'll do both as a follow and as a lead, okay? So first, let's go ahead and define what tracks are. This may be your first time hearing the word track, so if that's you, let's make sure we know what that means, okay? If you already know what that means, go ahead and fast forward a minute or so. All right, so a track is essentially where you get to step your feet onto, okay? So each foot has a track. Very similar to a train, right? A train has two tracks, one for each side of that train and those wheels, right? So we also have two tracks. You can think of it like a railroad track. Your feet extend out in front of you, and those are your two tracks, okay? So you've got your left foot track and your right foot track, all right? And this has given me a good idea for another video. Maybe I'll post another one, get Mike's help, so that we can show you how the tracks line up with your partner. Okay, so it's important to note, and I'll note it here, although I won't be able to show you, that when we dance American Smooth, we are offset from our partner, right? So our partner isn't standing right in front of our nose. However, she or he is slightly over to our right side, which means their right foot track is actually between your 2 feet, okay? So that is important because we don't step on each other's track unless the pattern calls for it, okay? So I have a left foot track, I have a right foot track, and then my partner, I will be my own partner. I'll turn around here, shift over slightly to my partner's right side. Now my right foot track is between his 2 legs, okay, his left and right track, and my left track is on the outside of his right track. Okay, so between the 2 of us, there are 4 different tracks happening underneath us. So you can see how it could get a little complicated if we didn't know where to step, or if we're not aware of those tracks and not using them correctly. If we're going over in our partner's track or they're coming over in ours, you can see how that would cause some bumps in the road. So if you apply this tracks idea to overall all your dancing, that will help. But let's get into tango tracks because they are unique, okay? Every other basic, for example, I'll just use foxtrot, you're going to use both tracks, okay? Every time you step, each foot has a track. Whereas in tango, we're going to start sharing some of our tracks together, okay? So for example, when we take our very first step in tango as a lead or as a follow, you're going to step onto the same track as your standing foot, as your supporting foot. Okay, so instead of stepping straight forward onto my left track that my left foot is on, I'm going to come across to my right foot track and step right in front of that. Okay, so that's as a lead. I'll do it with my back to you so you can see that. Instead, we are not going to stay on this left track for a tango first step in our basic, okay? Instead, we will step across onto our right foot track, right in front of that foot, okay? And for the follow, let's show the follow. So if you're learning both parts, just reverse yourself, take your right foot back. Instead of stepping back straight onto the same right foot track, you are going to step back and across onto the left foot track, okay? So it feels like you're standing on a balance beam, correct? Because you're on the same track, okay? So one more time for the follow. Right foot, instead of stepping back on this right foot track, you're going to step back onto the left foot track, okay? So you kind of see how we're using those tracks to define where you place your foot within that basic, okay? Now, tango, your basic step for the lead is forward, 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 side, drag, right? Let's review that. So very basic. It's forward, 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 side, drag. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. Or you can spell tango, T-A-N-G-O, okay? For the follow, you're going back on the right foot. You're doing 3 back walks, and then your side step with the drag, okay? So now that we reviewed the lead and follow part, let's go ahead and apply those tracks. Repeat after me. On, off, on, off. Okay, so on, off, on, off. All right? So what we're going to do with that pattern here, let me face you first so you can just see. Like I already mentioned, your first step is going to be on the same track as your supporting leg. Your second step now is going to come off of that track you are on and come onto a new right foot track. Okay? All right, let's look at that again. So your first step, your left foot steps over to your right foot track. We call that on the track, okay? Because we're on the same track as our supporting leg. Now, my supporting leg is the left leg, and I'm going to step off of the track, which means I create a whole new track for my right foot. I'm not over here on the same track, or else I would have said on again, right? I'm over here, excuse me, off of my track, okay? So on, off are the first 2 steps. So you step on the track, off the track. Third step is going to be on the track again. Okay, so let's look at that, right? So we go on, off, on, and then your side step is a pretty obvious one. It's going to be off the track, okay? And then you're sliding this foot in, all right? So you really only have to be concerned with on, off, on. I usually say off because I like my pattern on, off, and then I drag in. But if you're taking your side step, there's no way you're stepping on the same track. You're stepping off of it, so you're doing good. All right, so we'll look at that one more time. I'll do it actually 2 more times. I'll do it facing you, and then I'll turn around, okay? So we have our tango frame, and we have our flex in our legs, and we go on, off, drag. Okay, now let me turn around so that you can see that from a different angle. Hopefully you can still see my feet here. All right, I gotta get right in front of you. And we have on the track, off the track, on the track, side, drag. So for my smart learners out there, those of you who foresee the future, I'm not one of those, maybe sometimes, but you are already thinking, especially as a lead, most of my leads already think about this. They're like, so wait a second, if I'm going on and off and on and off, I'm like gradually drifting over to my right side, the right side of the floor, right? Because I keep coming over this way. Yes, that is exactly right, okay? So that's why you don't see too many tango basics in a row, because you are eventually working towards the edge of the floor. I also recommend, especially for beginners, if you are applying your tracks already, don't do your tango basic right here at the edge of the floor, because by the end of the basic, you will be off the floor. Okay, so if you are applying tracks to your tango basic, make sure you're more towards the center of the racetrack going around, okay? So that way you are going off, but not off the floor, all right? Once you get more advanced, there's something called a curving basic, and next year probably I will come out with a video to address that, all right? Unless I get requests to see it sooner, I'll do it sooner, of course, okay? So let's go ahead and go over the follow tracks now. It follows the same exact pattern. Very good, right? So we're going to step on, and off. We're going to start with the right foot. We'll reach back and step on. We'll step off. We'll step on, and we'll step off, and we will drag that foot in, okay? We'll look at that again. Am I right in front of you? I think so. We step on, we step off, we step on, we step off, and we drag. All right, one last time. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, just to give you a different angle so maybe you can see my feet from the front. And we have on, hopefully I don't run into my wall, off, and on, off, drag. Okay? Now if you're having troubles with your balance, right, when you're stepping onto the same track, here's a little cheat code, okay? It's not really cheating, it's actually exact technique that you need. When your feet are on the same track, this is a position that is known to us ballroom dancers as CBMP, okay? So basically all that means is that your feet are on the same track. It stands for cross-body movement position, okay? Well, what that cross-body means is that in order to help keep my balance here on this balance beam, I'm going to take the opposite side of my body from my front foot and give it a little rotation towards that front leg. That helps lock in your muscles and helps keep you balanced, okay? The other thing that might be happening when you're on that same line is you might be breaking your posture any which way, and that is going to throw off your balance and your control. So make sure you're pulled up out of your hips, right, and your spine is still straight, and that you're not settling or sinking anywhere in your pelvis, okay? So you're pulled up, and you've got, for the leads here, it's your right side forward, okay, when that left foot is in front of you, okay? For the follows, it's going to be the same exact thing. I'm stepping back. My front foot is my left foot, just like it was for the lead, okay? I'm making sure I'm not settling or twisting my posture any which way, right? And I'm going to rotate my right side towards my upper body, and that just helps me balance, okay? So, there you go. How to use your tracks in the Tango Basic for beginners. Okay, if you're brand new, just make sure you have that basic down first. You should be able to do that in your sleep. And then when you're ready, come back to this video and apply the tracks. Okay, once that's there, if you're struggling with the balance, put that right side lead in right away. Okay, and if you're already balanced and controlled, good on you. Make sure you still put that right side lead in there, because it will be useful and is necessary down the road, okay? Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or requests for future videos, and I'll be sure to respond and give you guys what you need. All right, happy dancing. See you next time.